So this is kind of an impromptu video. I didn't really have any plans to make this video. I just kind of decided to do it when I was looking at my shelves and thinking about the books I wanted to read in 2021. So I might do 2 of these videos. This might just be the one video that I do, I don't know. But I wanted to specifically focus on adult fantasy, or just like the adult books that I have in general. Because in 2020, I started to find a love of adult fiction, and that meant that whenever I went and got books or ordered books or whatever, I ended up in the adult section a lot of the time, just kind of picking out things that I had seen other people enjoy, and also taking a chance on things that I didn't really know anything about. So that means that now in 2021, I have quite a few adult books on my shelves that I am totally excited to read. These aren't even all of them. I just had to choose my top 10 that I'm like super excited about. So we're just gonna go on. There's no order to these books. I don't know how deep I'm gonna go into all of these. I find that adult books are a little bit harder to explain than young adult books, so we're gonna see how this goes. So the first book that I have is The Killing Moon by N.K. Jemisin, and I bought this, gosh, a couple of months ago, and I also bought the Inheritance trilogy, which is up on my shelves. For this video, I kind of wasn't sure which one I wanted to choose, but this is the one that keeps calling out to me in comparison to the Inheritance trilogy. And I think I'm really gonna like this one. I remember that it has a lot to do with dreams, which I find to be really intriguing. So it seems like in this fantasy world, dreams have magic, or they generate magic, and they are harvested for their magic. And Ahiru, one of the city's most famous gatherers, he was sent to kill this woman, but now he finds out that he actually has to protect this woman. So this sounds super interesting. I think I'm going to like the dynamic in this book, and I just love the idea of dreams being tied to magic. So I'm super excited about this one. I've heard so many good things about N.K. Jemisin, and I'm really excited that I'm going to start off with this book. The next book in my stack is Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse, and I am so excited about this book. I actually also have the audiobook for this book as well, so I don't know, maybe I'm going to do like switching off between audiobook and physical book, or maybe I'll do them at the same time, I don't know. But I definitely want to listen to the audiobook as well, so I think it's going to be a little bit of both. So this says, Book 1 of the Between the Earth and Sky trilogy, inspired by the civilizations of the pre-Columbian Americas and woven into a tale of celestial prophecies, political intrigue, and forbidden magic. So this book sounds so good, and so many of my friends, especially on Twitter, have read this book and loved it and have been just like talking about it all the time and making me want to read it, and I just need to get in on the hype. So I'm really excited to read this book. Also, the cover for this one is absolutely gorgeous. Like, look at how beautiful. Just don't look at the stains that are on it. This is the kind of like matte black book that will get like any sort of like fingerprints or anything on it, which is kind of sad because like the book is gorgeous, but then you open it up and the map is freaking beautiful. And then you also have a map on this side, and they're 2 different maps, so look at how gorgeous those are. I love fantasy maps so much. They're like a huge selling point for me. The next book is one that I got recently from Book of the Month, and this actually wasn't one of like the recent Book of the Month picks, but I hadn't liked any of the books that were being like given, so I had the option to choose from like a past book, and I ended up choosing Beasts of Extraordinary Circumstance by Ruth Emmy Long, and I'm super excited to read this. This one was the October 2017 Book of the Month pick, so quite a few years ago, but I've actually never really heard anybody talk about this book, and I just saw it and I read the description and I was like, oh my gosh, that sounds so amazing. So this book is about Waylon, and he has these extraordinary powers, and it seems like from the description of this book, it's just a lot of different stories from the people who have known Waylon and have come into contact with him. He just has these like really strange and extraordinary abilities. I'm super excited about this book. Like I said, I don't know a lot of people who've read it or who have talked about it, but again, this was like 3 years ago, so it is like kind of an older book. I hate to say that like 3 years like makes this an older book, but it's kind of true with how fast like, you know, books go and like the publishing industry moves, it's just like 3 years ago feels like a long time. So I'm not really surprised that I haven't heard a lot about this book, but it does seem like a really interesting read, something I might enjoy, and something that's just like a little bit different than the typical fantasy. The next book is like super popular, especially on book Twitter, and that is City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty, and I am just so excited to finally get into this book. I need to read this in 2021. It's definitely in like the top 3. I know I said this isn't ranked, but it's definitely in the top 3 that like I need to get to this year. I feel like if I don't get to this book this year, that means I have failed. I have failed, and I don't know what I'll do. So I have to read this book. I'm really excited. I know that it's set in Cairo, and I know that there are jinn in this book as well. It says, on the streets of 18th century Cairo, Nahri is a con woman of unsurpassed skill. She makes her living swindling Ottoman nobles, hoping to one day earn enough to change her fortunes. But when Nahri accidentally summons Dara, an equally sly, darkly mysterious jinn warrior, during one of her cons, she learns that even the cleverest of schemes can have deadly consequences. I've heard so many good things about this book. Like literally everybody I've seen who's read this book has fallen in love with it, and it's just been totally perfect for them. So I'm really hoping that this also works for me. And I feel like this book, I've seen a lot of people who haven't really read a lot of adult fantasy yet love it. So I think that that bodes well for me really enjoying it. I still definitely consider myself a novice to adult fantasy, but I feel like a lot of the stack is probably pretty good for like newbie adult fantasy readers. The next book is another book Twitter favorite, and that is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, and I am so excited for this book. And I just love this hardcover. It's so gorgeous. Like, I knew that when I was gonna pick this book up, I needed to get it in hardcover. For some of my adult fiction, I don't really care if it's in hardcover or paperback. That like doesn't really matter to me as much. But with this book, I knew I had to get the hardcover. It's just so gorgeous. Like, look at that. Oh, I love it so much. So this book is about Rin, and she is an orphan and surprises everybody when she is accepted into this really big special academy. And it seems like while she is facing a lot of colorism and racism, she is driven to desperation. She discovers she possesses a lethal, unearthly power, an aptitude for the nearly mythical art of shamanism. Exploring the depths of her gift with the help of a seemingly insane teacher and psychoactive substances, Rin learns that gods long thought dead were very much alive, and that mastering control over her powers could mean more than just surviving school. I have heard that this book is really bloody, gory, very action driven, and I'm so excited for it. And it also seems to have some really good, well-developed characters, which is like the most important thing to me in any fantasy, contemporary, it does not matter the genre. I am a character-driven reader, so that matters a lot to me. So I've seen so many like, you know, posts about the characters or fan art of the characters, or just like people talking about the characters, and that seems to be a pretty big driving force in this book. So I am so excited to dive into this book and dive into the world and the characters and the action, and I'm just ready for it. I know there's so many trigger warnings for this book. I will try to put them on the screen. I don't remember them at the moment. I'm pretty sure there might be like sexual assault, there's definitely violence, so I'll put them on the screen somewhere, so just so you're aware. This next book I've had on my shelves for quite a while, and that is A Curious Beginning by Deanna Raybourn. Like I've said, I've had this book on my shelves for a while, and I like keep meaning to pick it up, but then I just forget about it. I think it's probably because it's on these shelves that are over on this side of the room and not on these shelves. For some reason, I tend to forget about books if they are over there and not over there. Anyway, I remember picking this book up because it kind of reminded me a bit of Stalking Jack the Ripper, or Jacoby, and I really enjoy those novels, those series. They're just like the perfect aesthetic, the perfect characters. I love the entire like setting. So I was really excited to pick this book up a couple years ago, and then I just like keep forgetting about it. So I definitely need to read this. It says, London, 1887, after burying her spinster aunt, orphaned Veronica Speedwell is free to resume her world travels in pursuit of scientific inquiry and the occasional romantic dalliance. As familiar with hunting butterflies as with fending off admirers, Veronica intends to embark upon the journey of a lifetime. But fate has other plans, and Veronica thwarts her own attempted abduction with the help of an enigmatic German baron who offers her sanctuary in the care of his friend Stoker, a reclusive and bad-tempered natural historian. Okay, that synopsis is super difficult for me to read out loud. That was a tongue twister, but I'm super excited about this book. Can you see the connections between Stalking Jack the Ripper, Jacoby, those kind of books? Very similar. So I'm excited to read this book. And I also remember saying in my favorite books of the year, I wanted to read more books like The Lady Rogue. And this also reminds me of The Lady Rogue as well. So super, super excited. The next book is one I just bought recently, but it's also a super popular book. And that is Vicious by V.E. Schwab. So I read my first V.E. Schwab book this year and I absolutely loved it. 5 out of 5 stars. I've also started my second V.E. Schwab book this year, and that's A Darker Shade of Magic, and I am loving it. I'm about like 200 pages into it and really, really enjoying it. I have the rest of that series already on my shelf so I can just read it whenever. But I decided, since I love those books so much, I'm totally going to pick up Vicious, and hopefully I'll love it as well. So all I know about this book is that it's set in college, and it's kind of about like gray morality, and it's sort of like a villain origin story. It's about these two roommates, Victor and Eli. That's all I really need to know about this. I'm super excited about it. It has like so many different little elements that I really enjoy. And I'm super excited to see more of V.E. Schwab's writing. And like I said, hopefully I'll really enjoy it. If you think I'll like it, let me know down below in the comments. The next one is a book that I always hear Lala from Books with Lala talk about all the time, and that is Middle Game by Seanan McGuire. I'm really excited about this book because I didn't really like Seanan McGuire's other book. I can't remember what it's called. I'll put it up on the screen. It's those really short books. I can't remember what they're called. All I remember is the title, Come Tumbling Down. That's the only title I can remember right now. I'm so sorry. I did not like those books. However, I think that I'm going to like this one so much more. It seems to be so much more up my alley, so much more of like the things that I enjoy. So this book is about twins named Roger and Dodger. Roger is skilled with words, languages come easy to him, and Dodger is like more of a numbers person. And it says Roger and Dodger aren't exactly human, though they don't realize it. They aren't exactly gods either, not entirely, not yet. Meet Reed, skilled in the alchemical arts like his progenitor before him. Oh my god, these words. Reed created Dodger and her brother. He's not their father, not quite, but he has a plan to raise the twins to the highest power, to ascend with them and claim their authority as his own. Godhood is attainable, pray it isn't attained. That is so exciting to me. I love that it seems that it's going to be playing with some gray morality. Same with Vicious, similar idea. I'm so excited for this book. I think I'm really gonna like it. It's been sitting on my shelf for like a couple months and I just keep looking at it. I really want to pick it up and I feel like I'm going to actually enjoy this book. Oh wait, it says Every Heart a Doorway. That's the book that I didn't like. Didn't enjoy that book all that much. I liked the writing style, didn't like the content all that much, but I think that this book is definitely speaking to me a bit more than Every Heart a Doorway did, so hopefully I'll really enjoy this book. The next one is also another really popular one. This is Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir, and I'm so excited to read about some lesbians in space, and just like this entire aesthetic is so... I think these books for some reason just go together so nicely. Aren't they so pretty together? Just like, it's something about like the black and white aesthetic is just so perfect. Anyway, love the cover. Super excited about lesbian necromancers in space. That just like calls to me on a personal level. And I've heard so many of like my favorite authors, favorite booktubers, favorite book Twitter people who just like really enjoyed this book, and I'm so excited to read it. I know that Emily A. Duncan, who writes the Wicked Saints trilogy, whatever it's called, I love those books and she really likes these books as well, so I'm super excited to read this. It says, Tamsin Muir's Gideon the Ninth unveils a solar system of swordplay, cutthroat politics, and lesbian necromancers. Her characters leap off the page as skillfully animated as arcane revenants. The result is a heart-pounding epic science fantasy, which is kind of perfect because I do remember in one of my older videos I said I don't really like science fiction. I like sci-fi that's more fantasy oriented. So knowing that this is going to be a sci-fi that's definitely more fantasy oriented is so exciting to me, because science just like flies right over my head. I don't understand it. Just it never clicks in my brain. I am just so bad at science. Like I don't even think I've ever gotten higher than a C in any science class I've ever taken in my entire life. So I'm bad at science. Science fiction does not speak to me on any sort of level, not even like a personal level. But science fantasy, now that is exciting. I feel like, you know, science fantasy to me is more like Star Wars. So anything higher than a Star Wars is like not gonna fit into my brain. Very excited about this though. I really want some more like queer lesbian fiction. Super excited about it. And I don't know, I think it's gonna be really good. Sorry, I just keep saying that I think that they're gonna be really good. Super excited about them, obviously, duh. And the last book on this list is one that I bought super recently. Actually, I bought it at the same time that I bought Vicious, and that is Sin Eater by Megan Campisi. I am so excited to read this book because it kind of reminds me of the premise of something I wrote a couple of years ago. It's not like totally exactly the same, but it definitely reminds me of it. So this says, The Handmaid's Tale meets Alice in Wonderland in this inventive historical novel about a girl in 16th century England who is sentenced to be a sin eater and finds herself caught up in a deadly plot at the heart of the Queen's court. I saw this at Barnes & Noble. I immediately saw the title and like the picture and I was like, oh, hold on a second, this seems familiar. And my work in progress is called The Crow Eater. So yeah, I just want everybody to know that there are no new ideas under the sun. I think that just really needs to be said. Anyway, I'm so excited about this book. I'm really excited that someone else had the almost exact same idea that I did and actually got their book published. So go Megan Campisi, we love that for her. I'm so excited about this book. I think I'm really gonna enjoy it. It seems dark, it seems historical. I'm ready. All right, these are the books. They're all here. All here and accounted for. So yeah, these are 10 books. This is a really big stack. Like, these are thick books. So as I think I made it very clear in this video, I'm so excited about these books. If you've read any of these books and you enjoyed them, let me know down below in the comments. But only if you enjoyed them. I don't want to be discouraged from reading any of these books. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Also, go ahead and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Goodreads, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye! Ooh, I thought it'd be me and you.